We all know that Huawei smartphones are very well known for having the best camera experience ever since.
iPhone 14 Pro Max and the Galaxy S23 Ultra are outperformed by Huawei's flagship, the P60 Pro. The P60 Pro from Huawei has arrived in the area, and to get right to the point, it is. The corporation is betting on promoting its newest gadget as a photography best. Here's what we discovered after using the Huawei P60 Pro as our daily vehicle for a spell. Display and design. Black and Rococo Pearl are the two available colors for the Huawei P60 Pro. We received the Rococo Pearl color, a version with a marble pattern, a special print on each supplied smartphone. Bottom line, your opinion of this particular finish will depend on your personal preferences. Personally, I would choose the classic black shade. The P60 Pro features a curved body that is comfortable to handle and use and undoubtedly has a high-end feel. The gadget is 8.3 millimeters thin and 200 grams in weight. The main sensor is in the center of the back with the camera module on its left. Or to showcase the eye of light and restore the novelty of traditional cameras to a new era of mobile imaging, the telephoto and ultra-wide-angle lenses are situated on either side of the main camera's royal positioning. A dual SIM slot that also accepts Huawei's nano memory cards and one USB-C connector are also included. An IP68 rating, which is now essentially standard, is present on the P60 Pro. The quad curved display is protected by Huawei's own Kunlun glass. The 6.67-inch OLED panel has HDR capability and resolution of 2700 by 1220. The Huawei P60 series quad curved display now has corners that are more rounded and gentler at their edges, resulting in a wider field of vision and improved touch sensitivity. The display also features a 120Hz LTPO adaptive refresh rate, which can automatically vary the screen refresh rate in accordance with the user's browsing needs, while preserving the power output of the smartphone. The display quality is excellent overall, and the color reproduction is excellent and stunning. The display's bottom has an in-screen fingerprint scanner that's quick and reliable. There's also face scanning accessibility. Of course, for increased security, we choose the fingerprint option. Software functionality and battery. Due to the sanctions placed on the corporation, Huawei has fitted this P60 Pro with the outdated Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 at 4G only. On paper, or even during the benchmark test, the device trails behind the most recent flagships, but in our test, the Gen 1 has excelled in everyday use, showing that Huawei did a wonderful job of integrating its hardware and software. Either 8GB or 12GB of RAM and 256GB or 512GB of storage are included with the device. 4,815 mAh high-capacity batteries can support 66 watts wired Huawei Supercharge and 80-watt wired Huawei Supercharger power, the Huawei P60 and P60 Pro, with Huawei Supercharge and Turbo mode. The P60 Pro can also be charged to half capacity in just 10 minutes. The phone performed admirably during our test. We're able to use social media, browse, take some pictures, and view some videos, while still having more than a day of battery life. In the UK and Europe, Huawei has officially revealed the P60 Pro flagship, which is priced lower than the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Huawei's P60 Pro with 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage is now available for purchase from Huawei for £1,199, which is £49 less than the equivalent configuration of Samsung's best phone and about £109 less than the Apple's best iPhone. The Huawei P60 Pro aims to compete with its premium rivals in the display, camera, and battery departments. For £1,299, the P60 Pro is also offered in a 12GB RAM, 512GB storage version that ships only in the brand's new Rococo Pearl design. But how does Huawei's most recent flagship compare to the most recent models from Apple and Samsung? It depends what you're searching for, I suppose. Let's begin with the significant figures. The 48 megapixel main camera of the P60 Pro has a variable 1.44 aperture, according to Huawei, making it the largest phone camera aperture on the market. With a larger opening than its predecessor, the Huawei P50 Pro, the phone will reportedly be able to capture more light in 2023, giving it the ability to offer the best dynamic range of any smartphone. Along with a 48 megapixel telephoto camera with a 2.1 aperture and 3.5 times optical zoom, the P60 Pro also has a 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera with a 2.2 aperture, which should enable it to compete with the Galaxy S23 Ultra moon shooting powers. The phone has a 6.67-inch quad-curve OLED display with a 120Hz adaptive LTPO refresh rate, and the entire thing is covered in Huawei's incredibly tough Kunlun glass, a feature that, incidentally, was only available on one variant of the Mate 50 Pro. In addition to IP68, dust and water resistant, Huawei claims that the inclusion of Kunlun glass should improve the P60 Pro's drop resistance over its predecessor by a factor of 10. The P60 Pro has a 4,850 mAh battery inside that. According to Huawei, it can be charged to 50% capacity using its supercharged 88-watt wired charging technology in just 10 minutes. The phone also supports 50-watt wireless charging. The Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 CPU, which powers the P60 Pro, is the one slightly overwhelming feature of the device. This is not a slow chipset by any means. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4 and the iPhone 14 Pro Max both have superior processors on paper. However, the Galaxy S23 Ultra and the iPhone 14 Pro Max have faster processors overall. In keeping with previous high-end Huawei phones from recent years, it's also important to note that the Huawei P60 Pro is a 4G-only device. In the UK and Europe, Huawei has also unveiled the Huawei Mate X3 Foldable, a device that seeks to reinvent the foldable standard and pave the way forward to a new era of foldable smartphones. For a thorough overview of the Mate X3, which will cost £1,999 in the UK starting on May 26, head over to our site devoted to it, but eager buyers may already pre-order the gadget. Other attributes: low light telephoto portrait, which compared to prior models, the P60 Pro's ultra lighting lens group, along with the greatest f2.1 periscope telephoto aperture in the industry and the RYYB super sensing sensor, increased the quantity of light entering the telephoto camera lens by 178%. Dual telephoto shooting. In addition, the camera features the long travel slide zoom lens group, which allows for flexible focusing distance control. This implies that a single lens may provide crisp images for close-up macros as well as long-distance zooms. This eliminates the need for photographers, especially amateurs or beginners, to operate complicated equipment. Super Moon Scene. With X-Mage, users may now take use of Super Moon mode to shoot the moon while maintaining the details of the things in the foreground, allowing for the clear and beautiful capture of both the moon and the surrounding countryside. Overall, this phone's camera is a beast, and DxOMark classified it as the top-performing handset with a score of 156 as proof. Chinese multinational technology company Huawei Technologies Co. Limited is based in Shenzhen, Guangdong Province. Creates, develops, produces, and markets a variety of rooftop solar goods, consumer electronics, smart gadgets, and telecommunication equipment. Ren Zhengfei, a former officer of the People's Liberation Army, created the company in 1987. Huawei's business has gone from its initial focus on producing phone switches to include the construction of telecommunication networks, the provision of operational and consulting services and equipment to businesses both inside and outside of China, as well as the production of communication products for the consumer market. More than 170 nations and regions now use Huawei products and services. In 2012, it surpassed Ericsson to become the largest global maker of telecoms equipment. 2018, it surpassed Apple to become the second largest global manufacturer of smartphones, trailing only Samsung Electronics. Huawei announced $108.5 billion in sales for the year of 2018. Huawei's first eclipsed Samsung and Apple in terms of global phone shipments in July 2020. Despite its success on a global scale, Huawei has encountered challenges in some countries due to excessive state support. Connections to the PLA and Ministry of State Security and worries that Huawei's infrastructure technology may enable Chinese government surveillance. The U.S. and its allies have urged businesses to avoid working with Huawei and other Chinese telecoms firms like ZTE while 5G wireless networks are developed. According to Huawei, there is no greater cybersecurity risk from its devices than any other vendor. The U.S. has not provided proof of espionage. The accusations are disingenuous because the U.S. government itself runs state surveillance programs. However, experts point out that the People's Republic of China's 2014 counter-espionage law and 2017 national intelligence law are extensive laws that oblige Huawei and other corporations to collaborate in gathering intelligence. The P60 Pro is unquestionably at the top of the list of worthwhile purchases because to Huawei's reputation as one of the best smartphone manufacturers for photography, the phone outperforms some of the other market leaders in terms of low light zoom and manual mode features. This option's a no-brainer if you're seeking for a powerful camera and don't mind the lack of 5G capabilities or chipset.
I am announcing that a grand jury in Seattle has returned an indictment that alleges 10 federal crimes by 2 affiliates of telecommunications corporation Huawei Technologies.
What do you think is better and worth the money to spend? Comment down below for us to know your thoughts. See you again on the next interesting topic.